Well, welcome everyone to the first ever virtual Champagne Gala benefiting the Southwest Seattle Historical Society. My name is Fred Northup Jr. I will be your MC and auctioneer for this evening. You know, I love this event, and not just because I live in West Seattle, which I do. I'm here in my home right now by Lincoln Park, which we love so much we named our dog Lincoln, by the way. But I'm really here at this event again because I love West Seattle. I love our tight-knit community. I love learning about the native people who took care of this land and continue to do so. In fact, we're honored to have Ken Workman, great-great-great-great-grandson of Chief Seattle, who will welcome you all shortly. I love preserving landmarks so that West Seattle will always look like West Seattle. I love learning about our streetcars and Luna Park and inspiring my kids with the history and people of the Duwamish Peninsula, from West Seattle to White Center. And for all of that, I turn to the West Seattle Historical Society and the Log House Museum. They are the ones documenting our fascinating past and inspiring us to think about the future. The museum is a place to learn about all peoples who have chosen residence on the Duwamish Peninsula. You know, it sits on the traditional land of the Duwamish people, and the museum is even built from logs which grew on the land before the arrival of non-native peoples. If you love West Seattle like I do, join me. And you wonder, how do I support this place? Well, step one, you bid. The silent auction will close at 7:15 p.m. Pacific. Now is your last chance to bid on items in the auction, including the private Puget Sound boat cruise, sneak peek at the Maynard letters, and high tea for four. Now, here's what I suggest. Watch the show on a bigger screen like a laptop and grab a second screen to do all your bidding and donating. Just go to the address right there on the screen below, click Get Started, and get set up to bid and donate. Again, the silent closes at 7:15. Now, while you bid, we want to thank our sponsors for continuing their support even through all of the changes to this year's event. First, to our presenting sponsor, Luna Park Cafe, thank you. Luna Park was actually the first restaurant my family went to when we moved to Seattle in 1989. It had just recently opened with that 1958 Seaberg jukebox. I still remember walking into that amazing place. We also want to thank our other sponsors who have made this event possible, For Culture and the City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture. We also thank the in-kind sponsors whose support made tonight possible. The Pacific Institute, IT Headquarters, Hunt Jackson PLLC, Westside Seattle, the West Seattle Blog, and some auctioneer named Fred Northup Jr. That name does sound familiar. Alright everyone, set down your drink, give a big hand to all of our generous sponsors for making this event happen. Now, things are obviously a little different this year. I'm here at my house. We're not sipping champagne at Salty's together, but we're going to keep it as fun and just as joyful as possible for those of you joining us from the comfort of your homes. Hopefully some of you are sipping the champagne from our friends at Bakery Nouveau. Don't forget to share your photos of yourself attending this virtual event. You can post directly to our Facebook event page or use the hashtag SWSHSVirtualGala. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube and you have a technical glitch such as audio and video stop syncing, just refresh your browser and most problems are magically fixed. All right, let's do this. As promised, to kick things off officially, please welcome Ken Workman, great-great-great-great-grandson of Chief Seattle, member of the Duwamish tribe, and member of the Historical Society's Board of Trustees.
Gwigwihida. This word in our native language means welcome. Gwigwihidakti siyayaya ateya has aslakil. Welcome, my friends, on this good day. Gwigwihedak bak te siyayaya okiti da skoiswa tufted atea padata doabs. We welcome all people from around the world onto the land of the Duwamish. Nyayus tubstids dahata doabs. I am workman of the Duwamish tribe and great-great-great-great-grandson of Chief Seattle. I come to you today from the middle fork of the Snoqualmie River, where the Snoqualmie people allow me to live. And so I say, thank you, my Snoqualmie brethren, for your heart, for your strength. Twadag we hath us lakil for these good days. Gwigwi hedak. Gwigwi hedak. Gwigwi hedak.
Thanks, Ken. Again, if you haven't gotten set up to bid and donate yet, please do that now. The silent auction closes at 7:15 p.m., so we are minutes away. Again, grab a second screen if you can, like a phone or a tablet. Go to swseahs2020.ggo.bid. Click Get Started if you're there for the first time. Get set up to bid and donate. You'll see your name on the main page when you're all set up. Now, if you've got questions, reach out to us in the chat. Now, please welcome Kathy Blackwell, President of the Historical Society's Board of Trustees.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I am so happy to welcome you all to our first ever virtual gala. In fact, this year has been a year of many firsts for the Historical Society, as I'm sure is true for all of you. At the beginning of the year, we were delighted to announce the hiring of our new Executive Director, Michael King. Little did we know what was ahead. Certainly not the plans we had discussed. Within weeks, Michael was pivoting our exhibits and programming from a bricks-and-mortar museum to 100% online. Thanks to his leadership and a talented and innovative staff, the Historical Society didn't skip a beat and offered a full schedule of programming and exhibits, thanks to Zoom and other online platforms. You'll hear more about this from Michael, but I want you to know how deeply the Board of Trustees appreciates and values his ability and willingness to meet this crisis with a commitment to success. Having a talented and forward-thinking staff is amazing, but none of this can happen without our community's commitment to promoting local heritage through education, preservation, and advocacy. This is the work that goes on every day at the Log House Museum, and we cannot do this work without you. I have long believed that the Southwest Seattle Historical Society is the heart and soul of West Seattle and the Duwamish Peninsula. What a unique and compelling story we have that spans thousands of years, including heroes as well as ordinary people living their lives. If we do not actively work to capture our history, it disappears. We know that all of you are here because you love this community and support the preservation of local history. It really does take a village to do this work. From our professional staff, a dedicated board of trustees, to our volunteers and docents, and especially to our donors and corporate sponsors. We could not do this work without that support, and we are deeply grateful for your commitment. And we are also so grateful to our presenting sponsor, Luna Park Cafe, owned by John Bennett. His passionate support of preservation is evidenced in the restoration of the Log House Museum 25 years ago, and his ongoing commitment to maintaining it. He's certainly been our guardian angel. We hope that you have enjoyed our auction and take a moment to bid before the auction closes in a few moments. And we thank you for joining us this evening to virtually celebrate another year of making history here on the Duwamish Peninsula. Our hope is that we can be together again next year at our traditional champagne brunch at Salty's. Best wishes to each of you.
Thank you, Kathy, and thanks to the entire board for their leadership during these unusual times. Again, silent auction closing at 7:15. Don't miss out on your chance to win a signed copy of Sean Petrie's new book, Listen to the Trees, or a 1970s harmony guitar from Thunder Road Guitars. All right, joining us now to tell us more about the work of the Historical Society is Executive Director Michael King.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Southwest Seattle Historical Society's first ever virtual Champagne Gala. I'm Michael King, Executive Director of the Historical Society, and I am thrilled to have the opportunity to connect with you this evening. I am joining you from my office here at the Log House Museum, and before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that the Historical Society and our beloved Log House Museum are located on the traditional lands of the Duwamish people, past and present. When the Board of Trustees, staff, and dedicated volunteers of the Historical Society began planning our annual gala back at the beginning of the year, we pictured ourselves celebrating as a community like we traditionally do over brunch and champagne at Salty's. Instead, this year we're all in our own homes and offices staring at a screen, but hopefully still enjoying some champagne. Needless to say, this year's event is considerably different than anything we could have ever anticipated. Although 2020 has created a series of unprecedented challenges for our entire community, it has not altered the Historical Society's commitment to preserving and promoting local history through education, preservation, and advocacy. In fact, I believe that the challenges of 2020 have underscored the importance of the work we do. Everything that has transpired this year has taught us that there need not be any great separation between deeply reflecting on the past and rising to the challenges we face in the present. These are very much mutually beneficial pursuits. As such, the Historical Society has deepened its commitment to fostering relevant programs and experiences that educate and enrich our community, and we've been compelled by the pandemic to embrace innovative approaches to achieve this goal. For instance, this summer we hosted our first ever virtual home tour, which explored the Maynard House on Alki, the oldest home still standing in Seattle, through a 360-degree video that allowed participants to explore the house from the comfort of their own homes. We've also hosted compelling panel conversations, one of which explored what life was like on the Duwamish Peninsula before the arrival of Euro-American settlers. Even our longtime favorite Words, Writers, and Southwest Stories speaker series pivoted to a digital format. Although the pandemic necessitated that we temporarily close the museum, that hasn't stopped us from developing new and dynamic exhibits like the Alki Suffrage Club and War on the Home Front, both of which are available for you to explore in a digital format on our website. And we recognize that we are living through historic times, which compelled us to initiate our COVID-19 diary entry project, through which we're recording the experiences of our community to share with future generations. Your generosity has made all of this possible, and it will also enable us to realize our ambitious plans for 2021. We simply cannot succeed without all of you and your support, so I am profoundly grateful to you for your commitment to the Historical Society. 2020 has taught us that every individual is an agent of historical change, whose actions and ideas are shaping the entire community. We'll hear from Laura Radford, Executive Director of the West Seattle Junction Association, about this reality momentarily, but I want to let you all know that as the Historical Society looks ahead to 2021, we are prioritizing initiatives that underscore the fact that every voice in our community is significant. Our exhibits and programs will be guided by an effort to showcase and record your perspectives and stories to explore how they shape history. Earlier this year, we started compiling oral histories from members of our community as part of a project we're calling Peninsula Voices. You'll have the chance to take a sneak peek at a trailer for this project this evening, which is aimed at demonstrating that your stories quite literally shape history and our understanding of the past. I'd like to thank everyone in our community that's already contributed to this project, and I'd especially like to express my gratitude to Pater Nelson, who has volunteered his time and expertise to edit the oral history interviews into the preview we will enjoy together this evening. We've missed seeing you all at the museum, at our events, and at in-person programs, but we have exciting plans in store for 2021. We'll be offering a wide range of digital programs, including tour experiences for school, youth, and adult audiences, in addition to compelling new exhibits. And we have so much more in store. Again, your support sustains these efforts and invigorates the Historical Society as we work to broaden and deepen our ability to serve every audience and neighborhood on the Duwamish Peninsula. Before I turn things back over to Fred, I'd be remiss if I did not thank Kathy Blackwell and the Historical Society's Board of Trustees, as well as every volunteer member of our Gala Committee, all of whom worked tirelessly under new and challenging circumstances to make this celebration possible. I'd also like to thank this evening's presenting sponsor, Luna Park Cafe. We are so grateful for their support during such a challenging period. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for your support this year, and especially this evening, which creates a foundation for a successful future. We cannot do what we do without all of you, and your commitment to the Historical Society is truly inspiring. Thank you again.
Thank you, Michael. All right, everyone, the auction is closed. Congratulations to our winners. There is still time to bid on our premier items. Bidding on the premier items will close at 7:30 p.m. Now, don't miss out on your chance to win that beautiful Pearl Jam poster from the band's 2018 show at Fenway Park, autographed by all the members, of course, including West Seattle's Eddie Vedder, Jeff Ament, the whole band. You can also win the exclusive opportunity to create and name your own flavor of ice cream at Husky Deli in the Junction. Maybe you want to leave your mark on West Seattle. Local artist Desmond Hansen will paint a custom painting on a traffic signal box or on a canvas for you. There's a box at every intersection of the city. You've seen his amazing work, so a lot to choose from in West Seattle alone. Now, bid now also to get the chance to join Ken Workman, as you heard, the fourth great-grandson of Chief Seattle, for a 90-minute walking tour of the ancestral woods of the Duwamish people. He'll share the historical and cultural significance of what is now the West Duwamish Greenbelt Trails to the Duwamish people. Bid now. Enjoy a peek at the world of Doc Maynard, one of the original founders of Seattle. Doc Maynard package includes a one-night stay at the Doc Maynard House Airbnb at Alki Beach, round trip on the West Seattle water taxi, food and drink at the Doc Maynard Public House, the Seattle Underground tour for two. Just place all those bids because those are all closing at 7:30 p.m. Now, 2020 has been a historic year in more ways than one. We're joined now by Laura Radford, Executive Director of the West Seattle Junction Association, to learn more about how each one of us shapes the history of the community that we call home.
Hi, I'm Laura Radford, the Executive Director of the West Seattle Junction Association, and I am honored to present to you my keynote speech. I want to start off with a quote, and the quote reads, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." And that was by Albert Einstein. And if he knows difficulty, it would certainly be him. History, connection, community, and the wish for a happy and good life. For one person, a good life may just be having 3 meals a day and a roof over their head. For another, it may be having a huge mansion and a couple of $1 million in the bank. There are different levels and meanings to what a good life is. But whatever your definition, there is perhaps one thing that you may have in common with the people here today. You may think that a good life means being free of stress. Perhaps you would like to have a good life without having to work so hard or struggle so much. That's just normal human expectation. The thought of all that work, all that planning, overcoming hurdles and resistance is enough to make a lot of people give up before they even start. It can all seem too overwhelming, and that for many, it just doesn't seem to be worth it. It's like being drained of energy just at the thought of running to the water taxi. For you, even at the dock, the thought of all that running just scares you and tires you too much, and you just decide not to go for it. It's just too hard. As we've experienced this year, rising up to help out fellow neighbors, keeping the lights on for our small businesses, or looking up as you make the long journey around our out-of-commission bridge, we find the happiness is really reaching through the unknown and lending a hand, with masks on, of course, to the people who need you the most. Isn't history like that? The long journey, the unknown road, the reason that propels us to live a new chapter. One of my favorite books is titled The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. The first sentence of this book is, "Life is difficult." Now, if you pick up a book and the first thing that it tells you is life is difficult, you may just think, is this book going to get reassuring and encouraging after such a start? But as Peck goes on to explain, once you accept that life is hard, it no longer becomes an issue that is difficult. He says, once we know that life is difficult, once we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Hasn't this pandemic taught us in life you will have difficulties getting anything you want? Imagine panicking about toilet paper. But it's all in perspective, really. If you leave those final rolls on the shelf because you have enough, you leave behind kindness, as there is someone else who may need it more. You create your own history with small tokens of compassion. Once you do better, you will feel better. Once you create your own history, like the people before you who created our beautiful West Seattle, your outlook is better. Being apart from our family or friends is hard. But think of this. Your situation is common to every person here today. Look around the room. Your fellow human beings are feeling the same. As we gather today to support the very people of the Southwest Seattle Historical Society, whose mission is to keep us connected through the retelling of history, a sense of togetherness builds. Take a moment to think of this period of history as part of your life. You will realize that you are only human. There's a sense of release as you ponder, it's okay to have pancakes for breakfast again, or have that little bit larger glass of wine. You make mistakes like everyone else. You're not perfect, just like everyone else. Forgive yourself as we're going through this mighty upheaval in the history of our world. And I'm here to tell you that it's hard. Forgive, be kind, create your own history for this most historic moment. My belief is that all of us here are part of those who are concerned, caring, and are eager to make new history happen. You are eager to make it happen because you continue to be a part of those who want to contribute towards our dream of a better life for all. I'd like to read this quote to you. In our attempts to cope with a new way of living, perhaps we are unknowingly changing the blueprint of how we live our lives in the future. That's by Andy Levy. In closing, I urge you to participate fully and support each other the best you can. I challenge you to support the local business people who have been a part of your history here in West Seattle. I implore you to continue the preservation of history by giving to the Southwest Seattle Historical Society. We can do this. For one day, you will be counted as part of those who made things happen. I know you have the ability and the passion to make a difference. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Before we move on, reminder that the premier auction items close at 7:30 p.m., so place those bids now. You can even set a maximum bid by clicking the button that says Bid More. Now, this might not be the celebration we had originally planned, but we still raise a glass as we celebrate you and how your support helps the Historical Society preserve and promote our local history. Because of you, the pandemic did not deter the Historical Society from recording history as it is happening. Earlier this year, the Historical Society initiated its Peninsula Voices project, which aims at recording the individual histories and stories of as many members of our community as possible. The goal of this new initiative is to record your stories and demonstrate that everyone in our community is shaping the next chapter in our collective history. This summer, Historical Society staff took to Zoom to begin the process of recording these oral histories. As we learned from Michael earlier tonight, the project will be a major part of the Historical Society's plans in 2021. Let's take a look at this trailer for the Peninsula Voices project.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Michael?
Let me see. How am I looking right here? Do I need the camera closer? Is it blurry?
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, good. Let me take my mask off.
Hi, Stacy. How are you?
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Marcy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? My mother moved here from Oklahoma with my grandmother when she was about 16, and they rented an apartment here on Alki.
I was born in 1954, across the street from Seacrest Park. That's where I'm imprinted.
I grew up in West Seattle, as did my father and his side of the family. His mom did too, so third generation West Seattle.
My name is Stacy Bass Walden. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and found West Seattle to be my home in 1994.
So my name is Sybil Nguyen. I am the owner and founder of Dubsy Coffee here in White Center, and it is a community-based cafe.
My name's Linda Bowie, and I've lived here basically all my life. My roots are deep here in the Duwamish. I think we should consider more saying, for West Siders, we're West Seattleites, we could integrate that, we're part of the Duwamish land now. But, that's with permission with the Duwamish people.
And the fact that we're talking more about our histories and sharing it is important, and preserving it. It's we're still a young city, but our history is old.
The role of the Log House Museum, it's to serve as a connection between the ancient people that were here, and then bridging into the Denny party, bridging into West Seattle being built up, so that people will know what this place is. For me, it's a bridge.
Going on a drive through West Seattle, there are so many things that you can point out. And back then, or looking across Alki at the downtown skyline, and how the Smith Tower was the tallest tower in the skyline when my dad was a kid, and now look at all these buildings that just completely surround it.
That's what I want other people to feel as they're looking across the water, that feeling of home and how welcoming the area is. Because they could take that story and run, and they'll just come right back like I did.
I am in that time in my life where I'm reflecting on, why does history matter? And what can you do when you learn about it? And how does that impact the greater world? And does it impact the greater world? And just you're asking four different perspectives on the Duwamish Peninsula, and saying that's important, that there are voices now, and that is what history is. It's just encouraging. So I really appreciate that at a personal level, that it matters, that everyone matters. So thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for what the Historical Society does.
Perfect.
Thank you, Michael.
I'm glad you're welcome.
Thank you. You too. Take care now.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good day.
There is still time to support the Historical Society, and I hope you will join me in doing that right now. If you value the importance of preserving history as much as I do, I hope you'll dig deep. And we're going to make it really easy for you. As you know, the Historical Society announced a $13,000 match made possible by the generosity of Luna Park Cafe and the Historical Society's Board of Trustees and Advisory Council. Now, we still need gifts to fulfill that match. So your $1,000 becomes $2,000 right now. Your $500 becomes $1,000. Just go to swseahs2020.ggo.bid, click the button that says make a donation today. You'll see all of the levels where you can give. Our top level is $5,000. We want to say thank you so much to John and Susie Bennett for their lead $5,000 gift. If you can join them, please do. Thank you to our $2,500 donor, Kathy Blackwell. If you can join Kathy at $2,500, please do. Please make a difference with us right now. Perhaps you can join us at $1,000. Remember, your $1,000 becomes $2,000. At $1,000, thank you to Rosalie Vanetti, Lisa and Robert Toomey, Burke Dykes, Jordan Hecker, Marcy Johnson and Joey Richardson, and Nancy Sorensen. If you can join them at $1,000, please do. Let's keep going at $500. Thank you to our $500 donors, Judy and Alan Bentley, Carol and Charlie Vincent, Ronald Miller, Lynn and Joe Drake, Jen and Mike Shaughnessy, and Carrie Korsgaard. Remember, we have matching funds. When you donate $500 right now, it becomes $1,000. Thank you, of course, to our $300 donors, Dave Townsend and Berlina and Thomas Brock. If you could join us at $250, please do, just like Jenny and Steve Bodner, and Tony and Debbie King. Or perhaps you can join us at $200, like Renee and Mark Morrill. Remember, your donations will enable the Historical Society to create new educational experiences for school and youth groups, develop thought-provoking exhibits, host free programs, preserve historically significant artifacts, maintain the amazing museum, and so much more. Raise your paddle now to leave your mark on history and dig deep because of that match. Well, thank you to everyone for your amazing support. Before we go, I'd like to send a special thank you to the dedicated staff and the board members who work so hard. Thank you to the dozens of volunteers who support the Historical Society's operations and special events like this gala. Thank you all. My name is Fred Northup Jr. It's been my honor to be with you. On behalf of the Historical Society, thank you. I hope to see you in person next year. Remember my eyes? So when you see me in a mask, at the grocery store, at the junction, at Luna Park Cafe, you can say hello. All right? We're going to close things out for the evening with some final words from Executive Director Michael King. Michael?
Thank you all again for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed our program, and most importantly, thank you again for your generosity and support. Every contribution you make to the Historical Society enables us to advance our mission, and we are truly fortunate to have such dedicated supporters. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, staff, and volunteers, thank you for everything you do to make our work possible. And thanks again to this evening's presenting sponsor, Luna Park Cafe, and to Fred Northup. We could not have done this without you, Fred, and we are grateful. With that, I hope you all have a happy and healthy holiday season, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks again, and good night.